I never thought my Tuesday morning would turn into a nightmare. The sun had just risen over our quiet suburban neighborhood, casting a golden glow on the freshly mowed lawns. I was walking Max, my golden retriever and certified service dog, along the familiar path by our apartment complex. Max had been my constant companion for 5 years, helping me navigate life with severe anxiety. Every step he took was filled with calm precision, every wag of his tail a reassurance that I wasn't alone. But today, as we rounded the corner near the HOA office, everything changed. Karen, HOA Karen, as the neighborhood had come to call her, was standing by the community mailbox, her eyes sharp, her posture rigid, like a hawk ready to strike. I had encountered her before, her obsession with rules was legendary. But today, her gaze landed on Max, and I could feel the tension in the air tighten like a wire ready to snap. "I don't care about your excuses," she barked, stepping toward us. "Dogs are not allowed off-leash in the common areas." I took a deep breath, explaining calmly that Max was a service dog, trained and certified under federal law. I showed her the identification card dangling from his collar. "He helps me with my anxiety. It's illegal to prevent him from accompanying me." Karen's lips twisted into a sneer. "I don't care about your little card. I make the rules here." Before I could react, she whipped out a can of pepper spray. "This is for disobedience." The world slowed as the mist hit Max. He yelped, a sound that shattered the fragile peace of the morning, and instinctively pressed himself against me. My heart raced as I shielded him, tears blurring my vision. People began to gather, murmuring in shock. I felt both anger and helplessness, a combination I never thought I'd experience. How could someone be so cruel? I dialed 911 with trembling hands. Yes, my service dog was attacked. Yes, it was pepper spray. I need officers immediately. My voice was tight with emotion, but I knew I had to remain composed for Max. He leaned into me, shaking, yet still alert, his training evident even in pain. By the time the officers arrived, Karen had retreated to her corner of the lawn, arms crossed and eyes blazing with indignation. The officers listened carefully as I recounted the incident, showing Max's certification and explaining the assault. One of them, a younger officer with a calm demeanor, frowned as he looked at Karen. "Ma'am, do you know that interfering with a service animal is a federal offense?" Karen froze. Her confident facade crumbled like dry paper in the wind. I didn't know," she stammered, her voice suddenly small. She had always been the queen of control, and yet in this moment, she looked utterly powerless. The officers explained that under the Americans with Disabilities Act, harming or obstructing a service animal could lead to severe penalties. As the situation began to settle, I noticed a subtle shift in Karen's demeanor. She seemed smaller somehow, humbled. I expected her to argue, to deny, to blame. But instead, she turned her gaze toward Max, who was still cautiously sniffing the air around her. She knelt slowly, almost timidly, and muttered something under her breath. I'm sorry," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. It was awkward, uncomfortable, but genuine. Max tilted his head, sniffing her hand. He didn't growl or bark. He simply acknowledged the human gesture, sensing perhaps that forgiveness was a form of protection, too. I felt my anger soften, replaced by a complex swirl of emotions. The incident had been frightening, yes, but it also revealed something remarkable. Even the hardest hearts could be touched by accountability and compassion. Karen's apology was small, but it was a start. Over the next few days, the story spread through the neighborhood. Many residents expressed support, offering assistance and checking in on Max. I received messages from strangers who had similar experiences, sharing stories of resilience and hope. And Karen, she began volunteering in the community, attending HOA meetings not as a dictator but as someone learning the impact of her actions. The transformation was gradual, but undeniable. Max recovered quickly, his golden fur gleaming as he resumed his duties with pride and grace. Every morning, as we walked through the now familiar paths, I couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of trust, not just in the people around me, but in the quiet power of justice tempered by kindness. Months later, a neighborhood block party brought everyone together, including Karen. She approached me cautiously, holding a small bouquet of flowers. "For Max," she said, smiling nervously. Max sniffed the bouquet and wagged his tail, as if understanding the sincerity behind the gesture. The entire crowd applauded, a collective acknowledgement of growth and forgiveness. I realized then that life often delivers its lessons in unexpected ways. Karen's cruelty could have left a scar, but instead, it created an opportunity for accountability, for reflection, and for transformation. Max had been my companion through it all, a silent witness to both fear and triumph, and together, we had become symbols of resilience. The story ended not with punishment alone but with the hope that even those who falter can change. As I watched Karen speak gently to Max, her earlier hostility replaced by cautious respect, I felt a surge of gratitude. Life had a way of balancing the scales, often in ways that left us humbled and inspired. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, I reflected on the extraordinary power of compassion. One small act of courage, calling the authorities, standing up for Max, had rippled outward, touching hearts, reshaping attitudes, and reminding us all that kindness is stronger than cruelty. And Max, he lay at my feet, his golden eyes gleaming with quiet wisdom. He had taught me patience, resilience, and forgiveness in ways no words ever could. Together, we had faced fear, witnessed accountability, and embraced the humanity in others, even in someone who had once seemed irredeemable. The memory of that morning would always linger, a reminder that even in the face of injustice, courage and compassion could prevail. Karen had learned, the neighborhood had united, and Max and I continued our walks, our bond unshaken, carrying forward a story that would inspire others to believe in the transformative power of empathy. In the end, life's most profound lessons often arrive in moments of vulnerability. A service dog, a frightened human, and a woman forced to confront her actions had created a ripple that spread hope across a small suburban community. And as the stars appeared, glinting like tiny lanterns in the night sky, I whispered to Max, "We did good today, buddy. We really did." Because sometimes, heroism isn't about grand gestures or epic battles, it's about standing up for what's right, even when it's hard, and trusting that humanity, when guided by compassion, can shine through the darkest moments.